So, Ted, what do you want to talk about today?
Well, our fans really seem to really like the go-to spells, so I figured why don't we do some more of that?
Great idea. We could do the next tier for go-to wizard spells.
And I was thinking more of a divine influence.
Oh, what about one of my favorite character classes, the Druid?
That works for me, so how about Dungeons & Dragons Tier 1 go-to spells for the Druid?
Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy's Dave, and today, as always, I'm hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy's Ted.
Maybe this is your first time hanging out in Ted's basement. It's a place where we like to discuss news, views, and homebrews for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Sometimes we talk about other role-playing games, too.
So if you don't want to miss a single video, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and attune to that notification bell.
All right, so we're going to jump back into our series, Go-To Spells, but we're going to do the Druid this time. One of my favorite spellcasters for sure. And as always, we're going to break it down. We're going to do attack spells. We're going to do buff spells, defense spells.
We're going to look at iconic as well as overlooked.
And then finally, we're going to talk about utility spells.
All right, so let's dive into it.
All right, so we've got tier 1. That means first and second level spells, 4th level casting power for our druid. So we're going to start with attack spells. And I had to go with heat metal.
I mean, heat metal is a really great spell. Why don't you tell the people all about it?
I will grab my handy dandy device here, and I will use that to tell you about heat metal. So heat metal is a second level spell, casting time 1 action, range 60 feet, duration 1 minute. You have to concentrate on it. That's okay. You can cast it. You can wild shape and maintain your concentration afterwards. Choose a manufactured metal object such as metal weapon, a suit of heavy armor, or medium metal armor that can you see within range. You cause the object to glow red hot. Any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d8 fire damage when you cast the spell. Till the spell ends, you can use a bonus action each of your subsequent turns to cause the damage again. So no saving throw. If a creature is holding or wearing the object and takes damage from it, the creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or drop the object. They take the damage no matter what, but the saving throw is just to maintain their hold on it. If it doesn't drop the object, it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of your next turn. Well, there's some things you cannot just drop, like a suit of armor. It takes like a minute to take it off. At higher levels, when you cast the spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, the damage increases by a die 8 for each slot you use above 2nd level. This spell, I've used it as a player character. I've seen it used in games. It ends up being devastating.
It's pretty brutal. And as Dave says, if you target someone's armor, you just can't take that stuff off during combat. You know, doffing and donning armor are pretty difficult. We don't just zip out and be like, okay, I'm all good.
I've even used this as a utility spell in the past. When a white dragon was flying away with one of my companions, I cast heat metal on their armor, doing fire damage, which it's a cold type monster, so they're vulnerable to fire damage. So doing double damage. And then they had to make a saving throw to maintain a hold on that character. They took a bunch of falling damage and fire damage, but the dragon let go.
The dragon did let go. So next up is going to be our buff spell. And frankly, I think this is one of the most powerful spells in the game for its level. And that's going to be Pass Without Trace. So I got my handy dandy device here as well. 2nd level spell, casting time 1 action, range is self, but it affects more than one person. It's got a visual, somatic, and material. The duration is an hour. It's abjuration. There's no saving throw. And as I said, it's a buff spell. A veil of shadows and silence radiates from you, masking you and your companions from detection. For the duration, each creature you choose within 30 feet of you, including you, has a +10 bonus to dexterity stealth checks and can't be tracked except by magical means. A creature that receives this bonus leaves behind no tracks or traces of its passage. Holy crap. You know, the bounded accuracy of 5th edition, says that a 30 is basically an impossible task or nearly impossible task. So you combine that with expertise, a decent dexterity, and a just flat bonus of 10. It is just it's ridiculous. If your clumsiest, character wearing plate mail rolls a natural 1 on their stealth check, that's an 11. That means the average person has no way to trace them because they've got a passive perception of 10. Utterly incredible. And if you start using group stealth rolls where half the party has to succeed on the check in order to not be seen, it's a no-brainer.
It's a super powerful, strong spell. You can't even track them without magical means. That plus 10 is brutal. It's amazing. I've seen people get 30s and 40s on their stealth checks using this spell, and people who aren't good at stealth getting over 20.
Absolutely.
So it's almost as if you become invisible once you cast this on the party. Great buff spell.
Absolutely. So what do we got next? Well, speaking of buff spells, if you want to buff up your D&D game, as we're doing with our devices here, you might want to check out D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond makes it super easy to sort and find whatever you're looking for. It's a great database of Dungeons and Dragons stuff right at your fingertips. In this case, it's super easy then, to bring around a device or your laptop instead of a stack of books that weigh 50 pounds. It's just super convenient. We're making all kinds of things over there. We're building our characters, our campaigns. We can make monsters. We can make magic items. Tons of great features.
And if that's not enough, don't forget about all of the free content that's over there. You've got all the stuff that's on the SRD. You've got the articles. You've got the videos. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be checking this out. So help out the channel by helping out our sponsor. And for this one, it's D&D Beyond.
Absolutely. You can find a link down in the description.
So the next one up we have is going to be our defense.
Yes, for a defensive spell, this one's one of my favorites. That is Absorb Elements. It's really... You're looking at Druid low levels. It's either going to be Absorb Elements or Bark Skin. I feel like between your Dex and maybe Armor, you can kind of get really close with Bark Skin. It's not a bad spell. You can concentrate on it while you're using, your Wild Shape. But personally, I just love Absorb Elements because it's a reaction. Druids don't get a lot of things to do with their reactions. If you get hit with an Elemental type spell, it's amazing. It's a first level spell. As I said, reaction to cast, self range self. There's only a somatic component, duration 1 round, and abjuration school. The spell captures some of the incoming energy, lessening its effect on you and storing it for your next melee attack. You have resistance to the triggering damage type until the start of your next turn. Also, the first time you hit with a melee attack on your next turn, target takes an extra die 6 damage of the triggering type and the spell ends. Now, at higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell of second level or higher, the extra damage increases by a die 6 for each slot above first level. So in theory, you can, and I have done this, do more damage than you took.
and it's absolutely true. I've used stuff on Dave and be like, oh, take 12. It's like, okay, I'll absorb, so I only take 6, and then I'm gonna hit them for 13. Like, what?
Yes, or because you could just bump it up. I've definitely used really high spell slots to, on the incoming damage and halves it, and then I hit them back. And also, you still get to make a saving throw because you have resistance. So you can literally take a quarter of the damage and then end up giving them a ton more than you took. So I love this spell.
Lots and lots of fun. So next up, we're going to talk about an overlooked spell. And for this one, we kind of had to look through because there's a lot of very well-known Druid spells. So we're like, what might people not realize is super awesome? And that's going to be second level spell, Animal Messenger. Casting time is only an action. The range is 30 feet, so you don't have to be right next to the thing. It's got a verbal, somatic, and material component. Duration is 24 hours, although it could be longer. School is enchantment, and there is no saving throw. So this is a communication type effect. By means of the spell, you use an animal to deliver a message. Choose a tiny beast you can see within range, such as a squirrel, a blue jay, or a bat. You specify a location which you must have visited and a recipient who matches a general description, such as a man or a woman dressed in the uniform of a town guard, or a red-haired dwarf wearing a pointy hat. You also speak a message of up to 25 words. The target beast travels for the duration of the spell towards the specified location, covering about 50 miles per 24 hours, or for a flying messenger, or 25 miles for other animals. When the messenger arrives, it delivers your message to the creature that you described, replicating the sound of your voice. The messenger speaks only to a creature matching the description you gave. If the messenger doesn't reach its destination before the spell ends, the message is lost, and the beast makes its way back to where you cast the spell. If you cast it at higher level spells, for each spell slot higher, the spell increases by 48 hours for a duration. That's pretty nice. You know, in a world where we don't have access to technology or, you know, carrier pigeons, cell phones, emails, what have you, here is a great way for you to deliver, you know, a status update on your mission, you know, via, you know, the animals that are around. And this thing is a ritual spell, so therefore, like, you can't cast it at higher level spells, but you can be like, I'm not going to worry about a spell slot wasted by doing this. You can just be like, yep, I'm going to talk to that, you know, owl up there and say, hey, go tell the captain of the guard this is going on, and give him the description, and off he goes.
But that being said, if you wanted to cast it at a higher level spell, you could to make it last longer, which, you know, the first time you bump it up, it becomes 72 hours, you know, and it just keeps going up from there. So if they have to travel even further to give a message, then it becomes convenient. I find a lot of times, if that's the case, then you're probably going to do it like before your rest or something.
Yes.
So the slot's not going to matter as much. Where if you're just like casting it as a ritual, it might be that you're a prisoner or something, and you need to get the word out to try and, you know, break out or get assistance.
So that's one of the cool things that you've got the ability to do. It's a great way to be able to get out of prison. It's a great way, as Dave says, you know, oh, you're about to, you know, start your long rest. Well, you're not going to need all your spells, you know, for the night, so go ahead and cast it now. Oh, well, it's 2 days away. Well, use a second level spell slot and boom.
I mean, I can personally think of at least one instance that I'm sure everyone is going to know about for this spell that was pretty cool, and when it happened in the book and the movie, and that's Gandalf on top of the tower when he whispers to the moth.
Yep.
And the moth goes and finds the eagles for Gandalf.
Absolutely.
So next up, we have our utility spell. And this one is really popular. Druids pretty much always take this spell. And the reason why we've categorized it as a utility spell is for two reasons. One is it's a healing spell that you can give to other people and they can use it when they want to. And also it can feed and basically give you food and water to sustain you, you know, throughout the day.
So, and that's going to be good berry. And as Dave says, like, there's a lot of really great uses for this. Why don't you go into it, Dave?
All right. So it's a first level spell, making it great. Casting time is an action. Range is touch. Duration instantaneous. Up to 10 berries appear in your hand, are infused with magic for the duration. A creature can use its action to eat one berry. Eating a berry restores 1 hit point, and the berry provides enough nourishment to sustain a creature for 1 day. The berries lose their potencies if they have not been consumed within 24 hours of casting this spell. So essentially, before you go to bed, you can blow all your spell slots and create a ton of berries that you can distribute amongst the party. And when you wake up, they're still going to be good for 16 hours.
Right. So this is one of those things that if you're playing a druid, you could really, you know, power game the system a little bit. And okay, well, yeah, you might wind up losing out of spells if the DM throws a surprise encounter in the middle of the night. But you've already cast a spell, so you've already got the healing set up. In earlier editions, you had to actually have the berries. It was a random number of berries that you got when you cast the spell. You know, if you didn't have it, then you were out of luck. Here, it magically creates them. Oh, and it was food, so you could only eat so many before, like, you know, some DMs would be like, how do you have room? You just ate a full meal, and you ate 3 berries. That means you ate 3 more meals. That doesn't make sense. Here, there's none of that in the actual mechanics. While there's enough magic to sustain you, there's no added issues of eating more than one. So
the only mitigating factor is it takes an action to eat a berry. So it's not like during combat you're going to just cram a fistful in your mouth and be done with it. So, you know, so that does help at least.
I mean, you know, some DMs might be a little bit more lenient, but as by raw, you know, you can eat 1 berry at a time.
Absolutely. So next we're going to move into kind of like our bonus category, and that is the iconic spells.
All right, so I've got one of them. We're each going to go into one of them here, and I've got Animal Friendship. First level spell, casting time 1 action, range 30 feet, verbal somatic material, duration is 24 hours, school is enchantment, it's got a wisdom save, and it's a charm effect. This spell lets you convince a beast that you mean it no harm. Choose a beast that you can see within range. It must see and hear you. If the beast's intelligence is 4 or higher, the spell fails. Otherwise, the beast must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the spell's duration. If you or one of your companions harms the target, the spell ends. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, you can affect 1 additional beast above first.
So it's a cool way to kind of get some animal friends. The spell goes way back to 1st edition, when the Druid was first introduced. So, it just makes sense that would be an iconic spell.
So, beasts typically have a plus to their wisdom. Animals have to be cunning to survive, but they're not generally proficient in their wisdom saving throw. But all you're limited by is their actual intelligence. So if you happen to know, okay, well, this is a quote unquote dumb beast, then you could be able to use this to kind of give yourself a little bit of a summon feel as you are targeting more of these beasts.
You can have that T-Rex you've always wanted to love and hold and call George. So next up, my choice was Speak with Animals. You're a druid, and talking to animals seems like a thing that you would definitely do. It's a 1st level spell, casting time 1 action, range of self, duration 10 minutes, so you get to talk for a little while. You gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration. The knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited by their intelligence, but a minimum, beasts can give you information about nearby locations and monsters, including whatever they can perceive or have perceived within the past day. You might be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favor for you at the GM's discretion.
So in the kids game that I run, my son is currently 10, my daughter is 7. This is a very popular spell. Three of the characters actually have this on their spell list, and I think 2 of the other characters have actually found magic items with that spell in it. So it is really common because they're all trying to collect critters. It's a little bit of a scary Pokemon-esque game. But it is super useful. As a DM, sometimes it is challenging to be like, all right, how do I dumb this conversation down to the level of a beast? But it's still a lot of fun, and it can turn something that would be normally into a combat encounter into a role-playing encounter.
Yeah, you get role-playing opportunities. It's also worth noting that this is a ritual spell. So as long as you have it prepared, you can cast it whenever you want as a druid. So it comes in really handy. And I know my druid Vancus has used it quite a bit as well.
Yeah, the only trick with using it as a ritual spell is, making sure that squirrel or blue jay that you want to talk to waits around for 10 minutes while you, mumble and babble to yourself.
Yeah, it's better to cast it and then look for the animals, and be in an area where it's going to be useful, or they're the animals there and it's not going anywhere. So there's definitely opportunities to use it as a ritual spell, though.
Absolutely.
So with that, let us know, did we miss any go-to druid spells? What's on your list? We got a place for it, and that is down in the comments below. While you're at it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
On your way down, don't forget to stop by the description and check out that link over to D&D Beyond.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.